Hello, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation on the American Housing Survey, or AHS, Public Use File Microdata. During this presentation, we will go through a brief overview of the AHS Public Use File, also known as the PUF, microdata. As you may know, there are PUFs available for every survey year, but this presentation will focus on the 2015 and later PUF microdata because the PUF looks different since the 2015 AHS sample redesign. We will also look at a number of products that accompany the PUF microdata, such as our web-based PUF codebook, estimates for user verification, and other help guides and documents. Let's get started. In the first section of today's webinar, we will look at how changes in the 2015 AHS sample design have affected the PUF microdata. We will review what is included in the 2015 and later PUF microdata and look at why it is important. And we will explore how you can access this PUF microdata and use it in your work. As part of our continuing effort to make the AHS data more accessible and easier to use, Census and HUD developed a guide to help users better understand, analyze, and interpret the 2015 and later AHS Public Use File microdata. It's called the Getting Started with the Public Use File 2015 and Beyond Guide. This guide includes a lot of information we will cover in this webinar. Getting Started with the Public Use File 2015 and Beyond provides a user-friendly introduction to the 2015 and later PUF microdata. It features sections on key PUF topics and explains important differences between the 2015 and later PUFs relative to prior year PUF microdata. You can download this free Getting Started guide from the Technical Documentation section on the American Housing Survey website. So, what is the Public Use File, or PUF, microdata? The PUF microdata contain the individual level responses to all the AHS survey questions. In the AHS microdata, the basic unit is an individual housing unit. Each microdata record shows most of the information associated with a specific housing unit or individual, except for data items that could be used to personally identify that housing unit or individual. Why is the PUF microdata useful? With PUF microdata, users can create custom tabulations and delve deeper into the rich detail collected in the American Housing Survey. Individual-level national and metropolitan data can be downloaded through the PUF microdata and examined using statistical software such as SAS, Stata, or R. Users can conduct other types of statistical analysis with the PUF data, including regression analysis. Now, let's take a closer look at how the AHS sample design changed in 2015 and what that means for PUF users like you. In 2015, for the first time since 1985, HUD and Census drew an entirely new sample for the American Housing Survey. The redesigned AHS sample features two parts. Part 1 is an integrated national sample made up of a representative sample of the nation, representative oversamples of each of the 15 largest metropolitan areas, and a representative oversample of HUD-assisted housing units. HUD and Census survey the entire integrated national sample once every 2 years. Part 2 of the redesigned sample includes representative samples of selected metropolitan areas. Each survey year, on a rotating basis, HUD and Census survey one half of what we refer to as the next 20 group of metropolitan areas ranging from 16th to 51st largest by population. That means we survey each member of the next 20 group of metropolitan areas once every 4 years. Now, let's look at how these changes to the AHS sample affected the 2015 and later PUF microdata. If you have used prior year PUF microdata, you may notice some similarities between the 2015 and later PUFs and earlier versions. For example, like prior year PUFs, we publish separate PUF microdata for the integrated national sample, the national PUF, and the independent metropolitan area samples, the metropolitan area PUF. The sample redesign also resulted in some important changes to the 2015 and later AHS PUF microdata. For instance, 2015 was the first year we integrated data for the country's 15 largest metropolitan areas into the national sample PUF microdata. There are now fewer tables in the relational PUF structure. We'll look more closely at the structure of the PUFs in a few minutes. The 2015 and later PUFs also include fewer weights. We changed the name of many PUF microdata variables. and we removed non-interviews from the Puff microdata. We also created a new interactive codebook called the AHS Codebook Interactive Tool. We'll take a closer look at this valuable online tool later in this webinar. And we reorganized the codebook variables into topics and subtopics. In the next section, we'll explore how Puff microdata users work with AHS Core and rotating topical modules. The 2015 and later AHS questionnaires are organized into question modules, or sets of related questions about a topic. The AHS features two types of modules, core and rotating topical modules. Core modules, which provide data on a variety of housing topics, including mortgage characteristics, household income and demographics, disabilities, housing costs, size, and quality, are administered in every survey. Rotating topical modules, featuring data on special topics like arts and culture, disaster preparedness, and commuting costs, may appear in one survey, not appear in the next survey, but reappear in a future survey. To maximize the number of rotating topical modules that can be included in a survey year, beginning with the 2013 AHS, HUD, and Census began splitting the AHS sample in two groups, administering some topical modules to Group 1 and some modules to Group 2. To produce estimates using variables from rotating topical module questions, Puff microdata users must use a special split sample weight pertaining to the topical module group. We will talk about the split sample weights in a few minutes. Now, we'll examine the structure of the Puff microdata. HUD and Census provide the Puff microdata in two formats, relational and flat. The Puff relational file is a dataset that contains multiple tables of data. The relational file format in the 2015 and later Puff microdata is like prior year's format, except the latest Puffs have fewer tables. The household table includes one record for each housing unit along with householder information, such as race and sex. The householder information is also present on the person table, but it is duplicated in the household table for ease of use. The person table includes one record for each person in the household, up to 16 persons. For 2015 and forward, each person in the person table receives a unique person number, PLINE, and this number will be unique for the life of the longitudinal sample. In other words, if a person moves out of the housing unit, that PLINE number will not be reused. The mortgage table includes one record for each mortgage or similar debt owned by the household. The Puff microdata includes the first three mortgages. The IUF includes all mortgages reported by the respondent, up to 5. The project table includes one record for each home improvement project done by the household within the past 2 years. At most, there are 26 records per household, reflecting up to 26 projects. The person, mortgage, and project tables in the Puff relational file each have a many-to-one relationship with the household table. The person, mortgage, and project tables in the Puff relational file can be linked to the household table using the variable control. Control can also be used to link records from year to year. The other Puff microdata file structure, the flat file, is a dataset where individual Puff datasets have been combined into a single dataset with one record per housing unit. The Puff microdata flat file structure includes the household table, combined with flattened versions of the person, mortgage, and project tables. The flattened format is similar to the format in prior years. For instance, suppose a household has 3 persons. The variable race from the person table in the relational structure will be flattened into race 1, race 2, and race 3 in the flat file structure. The number appended to race reflects the number of the person. The same convention is used for the mortgage and project tables. In the next section of the webinar, we'll take a closer look at what you can find in the Puff. Let's start with the types of respondents that are included in the Puff microdata. The 2015 and later Puff microdata include 3 types of respondents: occupied interviews, usual residence, elsewhere interviews, and vacant interviews. The Puff variable int status indicates which of these 3 types of interviews was conducted. Unlike some prior year PUF microdata, the 2015 and later AHS PUF does not include non-interviews, where a respondent refused the interview or could not be contacted, where a housing unit was currently not habitable but could be habitable in a future year, or where a housing unit was demolished or destroyed. HUD and Census created the 2015 and later National Sample Case History file to track all sampled housing units in the Integrated National Sample and the next 20 independent metropolitan area samples. You can review this file if you want to know why various sample cases were not surveyed or were non-responses for 2015 or any later year. Now, we will look at the types of geographic indicators you can find in the 2015 and later PUF microdata. Because of Census Bureau disclosure avoidance procedures, the 2015 and later PUFs do not include many of the geographic indicators included in prior year PUF microdata. The 2015 and later PUF microdata include two geographic variables, Census Division and OMB13CBSA. The OMB13CBSA variable, which is the 2013 Office of Management and Budget Corps-based Statistical Area (CBSA) code, is populated with values for the 15 largest metropolitan areas. All housing units in metropolitan areas outside the top 15 areas are identified with a special code of 98. For housing units not in metropolitan areas, the OMB13CBSA value is 99. The metropolitan area PUFs include OMB13CBSA only. Now, let's take a closer look at using weights in the PUF. The 2015 and later PUF microdata have three weighing variables. You'll use the variable weight to produce national and metropolitan area estimates for all variables other than those found in topical modules. You can use SP1 weight to produce national and metropolitan area estimates for variables in the topical module Group 1. You'll use SP2 weight 2 to produce national and metropolitan area estimates for variables in the topical module Group 2. As we covered in the section on AHS question modules, special split sample weights are used with certain questions in the rotating topical modules. The AHS PUF microdata also include a set of weights called replicate weights. These weights allow AHS users to estimate variance, which can then be used to calculate the margin of error for a statistic of interest. There is a set of 80 replicate weights for each of the three weighting variables: weight, SP1 weight, and SP2 weight. Using replicate weights can be somewhat challenging for new PUF users. If you are interested in using replicate weights to calculate variance, we strongly encourage you to consult the help guide titled Quick Guide to Estimating Variance Using Replicate Weights, 2009 to current. The guide offers step-by-step instructions for using replicate weights to produce margins of error. The quick guide can be downloaded at census.gov/programs-surveys/AHS/tech-documentation. For more information on how weights are constructed, you can also download the Sample Design, Weighting, and Error Estimation Guide on the AHS Technical Documentation webpage. We just covered several variables that appear in the PUF microdata, including control, in status, the geographic indicators, the weights, and the replicate weights. The other variables in the PUF are responses to the survey questions. Let's take a look at these PUF microdata variables. Two types of variables and names are found in the PUF microdata. Numeric variables are those that have a natural representation as a number, such as dollars, counts, and percent values. Categorical variables are those that do not have a natural representation as a number. The PUF microdata include more than 420 variables across the four relational tables, plus edit flags and replicate weights. Many of the PUF variables represent the same or similar concepts as in past years. However, since the 2015 AHS includes an entirely new sample, HUD and Census took the opportunity to change variable names to make them more user-friendly and to bring them in line with other surveys, most notably the American Community Survey, or the ACS. For example, we've replaced several prior year AHS variables related to the type and size of the housing unit with a new variable, BLD. This variable corresponds to the ACS variable BLD. Beginning with 2015, we also collapsed multiple variables into one variable. For instance, the 2015 PUF variable fin rooms represents a combination of 5 variables found in the 2013 PUF and prior year PUFs. A similar strategy was used for heating and cooling and other variables. A few variables, such as rel, have the same name but use different codes. To help users map new variable names to old variable names, we produced a crosswalk file comparing 2015 PUF microdata variable names with PUF variable names from the 2011 AHS and 2013 AHS. This variable name crosswalk is available on the Codebook Interactive Tool website. Now, let's look at how the PUF microdata protect respondents' confidentiality. The AHS PUF microdata include most of the data collected on the AHS, but HUD and Census take steps to prevent the public release of some variables to maintain respondents' privacy and confidentiality. For instance, we do not release some items on the PUFs, including numerous variables about the neighborhood around a housing unit. We recode, top code, or bottom code data, which means we group really high and really low values together in a single value. And, as we noted a few slides ago, we limit the level of available geographic variables to just a few. However, for researchers who have obtained special SWOR status, we also maintain another file for each survey year called the Internal Use File, or the IUF. The IUF includes these variables because we create it before we apply disclosure avoidance procedures. The AHS IUF contains geographic identifiers, for example the census tract, that do not appear on the PUF. It also includes data that have not been top-coded or aggregated for confidentiality. And, perhaps most importantly, it contains neighborhood variables that we cannot include on the PUF. The AHS Codebook database also includes an availability section with 2 possible values, PUF or IUF only. When a variable is used as IUF only, it means the variable exists on the IUF, but it is not on the PUFs. If an AHS PUF microdata user cannot complete an analysis because one or more AHS variables are not available on the PUF, there are 2 ways we can help. HUD and Census staff can run special tabulations for you using IUF-only variables. Or our staff can assist AHS users with obtaining access to the AHS IUF. Users should note that getting access to the IUF is a complex process. Users must develop a detailed proposal, submit to a background check, obtain a non-sensitive federal security clearance, agree to become subject to legally binding disclosure restrictions, travel to a Census Bureau Federal Statistical Research Data Center, and be willing to pay a fee to access the Research Data Center. As we covered earlier, PUF microdata exist for all survey years. Now, we will look at ways users can access earlier PUFs, as well as the PUF microdata for 2015 and later that we're discussing today. The PUF microdata are available to the general public in SAS and CSV format. The PUF microdata for each survey year are available on the Public Use File section of the American Housing Survey website. Here, you can download datasets of all AHS surveys dating back to 1973, the codebook that provides the name and detailed information on each variable for each survey year, the survey questionnaire booklet in both English and Spanish, information on top-coded and bottom-coded variables and the methodology used in the coding, AHS technical documentation, and publications and/or tabular data in Excel format. In this section of the webinar, we will look at some of the tools and products that naturally accompany the PUF microdata. First, we'll look at the PUF Codebook Interactive Tool, which is a necessary tool for working with AHS public use files because it allows users to search for variables relating to the AHS PUF or Internal Use File microdata. Before the 2015 AHS, HUD and Census maintained the AHS Codebook as a living document that spans surveys conducted from 1997 through 2013. We updated the AHS Codebook with each new survey. Starting with the 2015 AHS, HUD and Census took an entirely new approach to maintaining the AHS Codebook, called the AHS Codebook Interactive Tool. We created a webinar, using the American Housing Survey AHS codebook that walks users through this useful tool. You can find it under videos on the Census Library page. The Codebook Interactive tool is a web-based application that includes all the information previously contained in the printed AHS codebook document, but with enhanced functionality, such as search and filter options. By presenting codebook-style information in the web application, we can easily update the AHS codebook if corrections or additions are required. As of May 2019, the AHS Codebook Interactive tool includes information on every variable that has appeared in the AHS microdata and the internal use file, or the IUF microdata, from 1997 to today. But we are working towards including all years of the AHS PUFs into the codebook, so stay tuned for updates. You can find this tool in the Codebook section of the American Housing Survey website. Now, we'll look at how users can replicate estimates in the AHS summary tables. For the 2013 AHS, we introduced a new product to help PUF microdata users see how HUD and Census created each estimate in the summary table, and if necessary, to verify that their own code for producing estimates is working as intended. This product is called the AHS 2017 Table Specifications and PUF Estimates for User Verification. Before we examine the AHS Summary Table specifications, let's take a quick look at the AHS Summary Tables. AHS Summary Tables present summary statistical data for each survey. These tables can be accessed via the AHS Table Creator, a web application that makes it easy to access tens of thousands of pre-calculated tables from the internal use file, or IUF. In past years, data users relied on table specifications, or SAS code, that provides instructions on how to replicate most summary table estimates. Starting with the 2013 PUF, we created the AHS 2017 Table Specifications and PUF Estimates for User Verification. This product is organized to correspond exactly to each AHS summary table available in the AHS Table Creator. We also replaced extensive SAS code with more generalized code, making it easier for non-SAS users to replicate various summary table estimates. For future years, HUD and Census will continue to produce AHS summary table specifications. Because of disclosure avoidance adjustments, estimates calculated using the PUFs may not be exactly the same as those published in the AHS summary tables. Still, summary table specifications can be a valuable tool in your work. And what about when respondents provide incorrect answers or don't answer certain questions? Let's explore that question. When AHS respondents give answers that HUD and Census believe are incorrect, we edit the AHS variable containing the responses. If respondents do not provide answers to certain questions, the value for the AHS variable may be imputed. It is important to note that imputations are not made for every variable with a missing value. HUD and Census provide resources to help AHS PUF users investigate edits and imputations. First, nearly every variable in the 2015 AHS PUF microdata includes a corresponding variable representing an edit or imputation flag. In keeping with the convention used in prior AHS PUFs, the edit imputation variable will be named the same as the variable to which it refers, but it will begin with the letter J. For instance, the edit imputation variable for the PUF variable tot rooms is jtotrooms. The name of the corresponding J variable can be found in the AHS Interactive Codebook in the Edit Flag Variable field. The codebook also includes an imputation strategy field to be populated later. Additional information on edits and imputations is available in the Technical Documentation section of the AHS website. Another helpful tool for working with the PUF microdata is the Geography Help Guide. This guide provides detailed information about the geographic indicators in the AHS Public Use File microdata in 2015 and later years, including the census divisions and the metropolitan areas on the national PUF, as well as the metropolitan area on the metropolitan area PUF. Users will also find the AHS Metropolitan Areas Help Guide to be a useful tool when working with PUF microdata. This document provides information on the AHS metropolitan area oversamples that were used in 2015 and later years. It includes an overview of the metropolitan areas that were surveyed and details about the 15 largest metropolitan areas oversample and the next 20 group of metropolitan area longitudinal oversamples. As a reminder, be sure to download the Getting Started with the Public Use File 2015 and Beyond guide for more information on any of the topics we've covered in this webinar. You can download this free Getting Started guide from the Technical Documentation section on the American Housing Survey website. On behalf of the Department of Housing and Urban Development and the U.S. Census Bureau, we would like to thank you so much for joining us for today's presentation on the American Housing Survey Public Use File Microdata. It's just one of the ways we're working to make it as easy as possible for you to use the AHS housing data in your work.